Self-care is not selfish. Self-care allows us to recharge. Hi, Ileana here. So today I'm going to talk to you about self-care and the importance for us to take care of ourselves and to remind ourselves that it is not selfish to put ourselves first. Because as the quote says, from an empty cup we cannot pour. And really, what that means is that if we keep putting ourselves last and putting everybody else first, uh, we are going to run out of gas and really not be able to keep going and to be able to give the best of ourselves. And to remind ourselves that sometimes taking care of ourselves is the best gift that we can give to others. You've been in an airplane where they always tell us that in case of an emergency, we need to put our oxygen mask first. If you are a parent, our first thought that goes into our mind is like, no, I want to put the mask on my child. But again, just like that quote that I just read to you, from an empty cup, you cannot pour. If you are not well, you cannot help others. So we need to remind ourselves the importance of taking care of our well being, our health, our mental, physical state. And it's not always to just give and to take a step back and not feel guilty about it, and not feel guilty about taking mental health, taking time alone for yourself. That is something that will help recharge ourselves, and so we can keep going and be a better version of ourselves for those around us and for ourselves as well. And sometimes that can be in different ways. You know, it can either be like a mini getaway, it can be like a spa day just for you, it can even just be going and getting our nails done, or just going with coffee with friends, happy hours, whatever that is. That is something that will recharge us. I just came back from a mini getaway for the weekend with my fiance, and I feel recharged. I feel that I was able to disconnect, and that's really what we need to do ever so often, just so we can have that energy to continue on with our goals and our plan in the hustle and bustle of our everyday life, family, kids, or regular jobs, and then side hustles or whatever else that you are trying to create. It is sometimes hard to just take a time, or um, to take the time to take care of ourselves, because we're just busy doing and building and creating. But it is so important to just slow down. And friend, it's not selfish to do that. And sometimes I find that as moms, we feel guilty about taking the time to ourselves. And when we do take time, we want to do for others, we want to do for our partner, for our kids. And that is great if that's what recharges you. But there are times where you just need that time alone. And it's okay to ask for it. It's okay to communicate that to your loved ones, to let them know what you need. And you will find that they want that for you, that they want you to have that time to recharge. So let me share with you some self-care tips that can hopefully help you. Obviously, there's so much more, but these are just my top three. And these self-care tips will help you start putting yourself first and to not feel guilty about it. So my tip number one is to schedule time for mental check-ins. So time for you to slow down, be alone, and check in with yourself. Like, how are you feeling? How are your emotions? What is bothering you? And yes, that is a challenge to find the time to do that. So, one of my little small tips that I'm starting, and my little habits that I'm trying to implement, is getting up early. And I'm not a morning person. I can stay in bed, and finding the time, it's a must, especially if you are a super busy person. then it's even more necessary to schedule the time, where either be at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day or lunchtime, whenever that is, but just finding that time for that. And tip number two is to reflect and adjust. Again, this goes with the first one, right? Taking the time to check in with yourself, where step number two is goes with that. So once you check in with yourself and decide how you're feeling, so this is the time to adjust and to think about what needs tweaking, what you need to adjust and prioritize in your life, and think of those things that bring you joy, and reflect on some of those things that you want to add to support your self-care priority, whether that is again yoga or journaling, reading, or anything that relaxes you, or just having a self-care routine to recharge, and taking the time to discover and getting to know what brings you joy, and what lights you up. What are those things that you want to do for you to add to your self care journey? So, that is a very important time for you. And tip number three, which I covered a little bit on my previous video. So, if you haven't seen that video, click on the link below to watch that. But I talked about setting boundaries. Uh, Obviously, that was boundaries. In that video, I talked about setting boundaries with friends and family, and boundaries with things that don't bring you joy and that drain your energy. Well, in this one, it's the same thing, where you are thinking about, in your reflection process, thinking about things that are draining your energy and are not contributing to your self-care journey, and not being afraid and not feeling guilty to say no, saying no to friends, saying no to family, and putting yourself first when it comes to that, because our goal is to preserve our positive energy as much as possible. And sometimes saying no is necessary for that. And it's okay. And do not feel guilty about it. So, in the comments below, tell me which one of these tips resonate with you. Either the setting boundaries, reflecting and adjusting. Is that something that you've done or want to try doing? And those mental health check ins to check your emotions and see how you're feeling. Now, let's remember that self care is not a luxury, it's a fundamental investment that we make to ourselves. And it's something that we have to be intentional about our personal mental need, personal, emotional, and mental need. And it's something that we need to prioritize if we want to be able to be fully there, present, in a positive state of mind for our loved ones, because they need the best version of ourselves. But in order to be able to provide that for them, we need to think about ourselves and take care of us in order to do that. And remember, you are a priority. And self care is an act of love towards yourself. And it's something that is not to be ignored. It's something that we need to make time and be committed to doing that for ourselves. Let me know what self care practices you have. Share in the comments below for all of us to see. And don't forget to subscribe. I want you to be part of my journey. I want you to be able to see me grow in this channel. I want you to come with me and continue this journey together. And I will see you in the next video.